Amara was the only daughter in a family of 5 children. Her family was extremely poor, and her parents spent most of their time working on other people's farms for very little pay. As the youngest child, Amara was loved the most, but she was also emotionally neglected because her parents were so busy with work and didn't provide her with proper upbringing. Her beauty started to attract attention when she was just 12 years old. The village women spoke enviously, saying Amara will take care of her family with her beauty. This made Amara believe that beauty was everything. By the time she turned 18, men from all walks of life surrounded her. Some were wealthy men from nearby villages, while others were traditional leaders. The problem started when her friends, Chila and Nemessa, began to notice changes in their friendship. Chila once told her, "Amara, your beauty is a blessing, but it can be a curse if you don't respect it." Amara laughed it off, saying, "Respect doesn't pay bills, Chila." This was the first sign that Amara was on a dangerous path. At 18, Amara considered herself an adult, able to make her own decisions about relationships. She didn't want anyone advising her, and every man with money who came her way was welcomed. Her famous saying was, "The one with the sharpest knife gets to eat the meat." At 20, Amara got pregnant for the first time. The story began at a traditional harvest festival, where Amara got involved with a man from a distant village named Fari, known for his wealth. Fari bought Amara everything she wanted that day, and after drinking heavily, they went to a guest house to finish the night. Fari promised her a good life, but a month later, when he discovered she was pregnant, he denied it completely. This broke Amara's heart, but she couldn't stop what had happened. While pregnant, Amara tried several times to abort the pregnancy using traditional methods, but it failed. She suffered a lot from the attempts, and her health deteriorated to the point where she feared for her life. After failing to abort the child, she hid her pregnancy, wearing tight clothes underneath but large dresses to cover her growing belly. Chila went to visit her and asked, "Amara, what is happening to you? Why won't you tell the truth?" But Amara denied everything. Even while pregnant, Amara continued her reckless behavior, seeking relationships with many men to earn money for herself. This was because, from a young age, Amara had been lazy and preferred to get money quickly rather than through hard work. At 9 months, Amara moved to a neighboring village where she gave birth late one night. She worried about the new, heavy responsibility of raising a child. She wondered how she would take care of the baby without a job, knowing many men would avoid her because of the responsibilities of motherhood. Unfortunately, Amara hid the pregnancy so well that no one, not even her close family or friends, knew. She lacked good advice during this difficult time and the heavy responsibilities of motherhood that she wasn't prepared for. One night, in a moment of despair, Amara decided to blame her bad decisions on the devil. When it was dark and most people were asleep, she took her newborn, wrapped it tightly in warm clothes to protect it from the cold, and went to throw it away in the trash. She then hid in the bushes to watch who would pick up the baby. Due to the extremely cold night, the baby cried loudly, attracting the attention of the neighbors, who were disturbed by the sound of a baby crying for a long time without being comforted. Grandmother Suluhu, hearing the crying, went to the trash and found the abandoned baby. She woke up the neighbors and the village leader to help search for the baby's mother, but the search was unsuccessful. The village leadership then asked Grandmother Suluhu to take the baby and care for it. Amara returned to her village, forgetting the cruelty she had inflicted on her first child. After a few days, she went back to her carefree life, enjoying the company of many men. Having successfully abandoned her first baby without being caught, Amara continued this behavior. In a short time, she got pregnant again and hid the pregnancy as she had done before. After giving birth, she went to the same village and threw the second child in the trash before disappearing without a trace. She did the same with her third baby, throwing the child in the trash and hiding to see who would pick it up. In that village, There was a strong yet sorrowful man named Chila. He lived in poverty after losing his entire family to cholera. Since then, he had made it his mission to save street children as a way to heal his own pain from losing his family. One day, Chila found Zawadi, Amara's fourth child, abandoned in the trash. He took the child in and raised her as his own. Zawadi was an intelligent girl, but often asked Chila, "Daddy, who is my real mother?" Chila had no answers. When Chila met Amara for the first time, he didn't know she was Zawadi's mother. Their conversation was tense. Chila said, "There is a soul inside you, Amara. Don't you know that children have the right to live with their mothers?" Amara trembled, but hid behind a fake smile. Nuru, who grew up in a wealthy family, began a journey to find her real mother after having strange dreams of a woman crying in the dark. "What do these dreams mean?" she asked. After some investigation, Nuru found a letter written by her stepmother saying, "Your real mother made terrible mistakes, but she didn't deserve eternal punishment." Baraka, an activist for children's rights, campaigned against child abandonment. In his campaign, he came across a famous trash site where many children had been found over the years. This led him to investigate further about his own origins, as he too had been abandoned at that same trash site. Zawadi, now close to Chila, was at the forefront of helping street children. When Chila told her that there was a possibility her real mother was in a nearby village, Zawadi decided to go and find her. When Amara saw her children starting to search for her, she began to live in great fear. She felt like a criminal waiting for her punishment. Amara wondered what the community would think of her actions, how the authorities would treat her, and what excuses she could give her children for abandoning them in the trash. Indeed, Amara was going through a harder time than when she had abandoned her children. Her life was filled with regret, and even though she avoided the responsibilities of motherhood, her life was still difficult, and old age was creeping in. Chila conducted his own investigation and eventually discovered that Amara was the mother who had abandoned her children in the trash years ago. He went to confront Amara once again, telling her it was time for the children to know the truth about their mother, even if she had committed the terrible crime of abandoning them. At first, Amara refused, but Chila continued to plead with her not to repeat her mistake by denying her children the chance to know their real mother. Amara agreed, but she didn't know how to begin telling her story. Meanwhile, Baraka, through his activism, met Nuru and discovered that they shared a strikingly similar history. They decided to work together to uncover the truth. Their journey led them to the village of Lugaga, where they met Zawadi. Their meeting was emotional, as they tried to understand how they were all so closely connected after being abandoned at the same trash site. Chila made preparations to bring Amara and her children together so they could get the answers to all their questions. The moment of reunion was filled with emotion, and the children, Zawadi, Nuru, and Baraka, cried tears of joy and sorrow as they waited to meet their mother. In the morning, at 4 a.m., Chila invited Amara to his home, along with the village leaders, to witness the historic event and provide security in case things went wrong. When the children finally met Amara face to face, they were overwhelmed with a mix of happiness, sadness, and anger, unsure of how to react. They cried as their mother cried, and the people who had gathered also shed tears of sadness and joy. After much crying and silence, Amara stood before her children, still in shock and sorrow. Baraka confronted her angrily, saying, "Why did you abandon your own blood? Were pleasures more valuable than us?" Nuru, crying, said, "We should have been part of your life. Why did you choose otherwise?" Zawadi, calm, asked, "Mom, is there a second chance? Can we love you again?" These words made Amara collapse in tears. She told them everything, her poverty, her fears, and the mistakes she made. She didn't try to defend herself, but asked for their forgiveness. She embraced her children joyfully after they forgave her. The children returned to their lives, each with different feelings about their mother. Baraka held onto his anger for a long time, but eventually softened, realizing that holding on to resentment would only harm him. Nuru, with her nurturing spirit, decided to bring Amara into her home to care for her during her old age. Zawadi, always the peacemaker, focused on helping Amara rebuild her sense of self-worth by involving her in charity work for street children. Amara, now surrounded by the love of the children she had once abandoned, began to reflect deeply on her past. She made it her mission to educate young women in her village about the dangers of neglecting their responsibilities and the importance of self-respect. Amara's story became a tale of redemption in the village of Lugaga. She started a small organization with Chila's help, aiming to support young mothers and educate them on parenting and life skills. Chila and Nemessa, her childhood friends, joined her efforts, and together they became a source of strength and wisdom for many. The children, now united, became known in their communities for their resilience and accomplishments. Baraka expanded his activism, dedicating a section of his campaign to sharing his family's story, which inspired legislation against child abandonment in the region. Nuru, with her nurturing personality, opened a safe house for single mothers and their children. Zawadi, under Chila's guidance, became a prominent advocate for street children and worked closely with her siblings to create a brighter future for abandoned children. Though their journey began in pain and abandonment, it ended in love, forgiveness, and a renewed sense of purpose. Amara's children transformed their trauma into a force for change, and their legacy became a beacon of hope for generations to come. The cry of children echoed no longer in despair, but as a call for love, unity, and second chances.